You have just stepped into the Midlife Revolution, your space to ignite possibility, redefine purpose, and embrace the power that comes with age. Co-hosted by yours truly, Coach Wayne.
And I'm Coach Stacy M. Lewis, and we're two seasoned coaches focused on the midlife community of color. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. In a world that sometimes forgets the power and the wisdom that comes with age, we're here to ignite a revolution and rewrite the narrative of this incredible journey.
So, whether you're navigating career shifts, rediscovering passions, or challenging the status quo, this is your space. So buckle up. Let's dive into the Midlife Revolution. Stacy and friends, good morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Depends on which part of the world you are and where in the States you are. Just had a visit last week to the tri-state, Stacy. And, I had forgotten how cold it gets there. It's March in Florida, so we are wearing shorts already. But I was freezing in the Northeast. So for those of us that are part of that, I feel your pain. My name is Wayne. I'm your co-host today with Midlife Revolution, and I help Black men level up after age 40 in their careers and their personal lives. And joining me is the wonderful Coach Stacy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is so funny is that I have been traveling and came home late last night, traveling for work, came home from Vegas where it was surprisingly cold. And then this morning it is flurrying in Pennsylvania. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Midlife Revolution. As Coach Wayne was so kind to say, I am Stacy M. Lewis. I am a nonprofit executive and a midlife women's empowerment coach. And we are so excited to have you here today. Wayne and I are going to do a little deep dive to talk about reigniting your purpose and your passions and how it all comes together. And so thanks for joining us. We hope to hear from you in the comments section. Please feel free to jump in. And I appreciate any grace you might show me as I'm clearing my throat. As you know, folks on the plane are just not very kind with keeping their germs to themselves. So pray my strength.
Well, Stacy, I have some alternative stuff to recommend, and I won't do it on the air so I don't get but we got to take care of ourselves, and that's so important as we talk about midlife, right? Because as you know, it is a myth that we have to get decrepit and fail in our health as we get older. Part of that is because we tend to stop moving and stop believing that we can become bigger, better, and bolder. And so we buy into that. So, Stacy, we're going to talk about some herbs and stuff that you can get in your windowsill to keep you kicking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today, Stacy, I think we wanted to talk about after midlife or during midlife, not just following the pattern of resignation, but really to start looking, and I mean resignation, not literally from a job, even though that's inclusive in the thinking, but I mean resignation in terms of just giving up on life, not having the verve, not feeling the sense of, yes, we have another half to carry on. And so it's a form of resurrection and renewal. And that's what I'm about this morning, Stacy.
Renewal is key. And I believe that as we embark upon this season, whether you refer to it as, your second half, your third quarter, I know for many of the women that I work with, there is this sense of disconnection from purpose and this desire to say, like, where's my purpose? I need to reconnect with my purpose. I need to find my purpose. And I believe that your purpose is already there. Your purpose is within you. And it really is how we either think about it, how we connect to our own identity, and really how we tap into our purpose again, not how we find it out there, but how we reconnect with our purpose.
Yeah, I'm actually endorsing that, Stacy, because I believe that each of us are unique, very special human beings. And we won the first race by becoming here through that purposeful insemination that happened with our parents, right? And so it's not an accident while we're here and we're selected, we're chosen. We are here to fill a role and a purpose. And so the questions that we ask along the way, oftentimes, is are we fulfilling that purpose? And we spend our first and second quarter oftentimes just searching, as I like to say, planting flags, trying to figure out what that might be. Sometimes we get lucky and we feel that sense of fulfillment and significance. But oftentimes, at around the midlife area, we start asking why and what else.
And one of the things that I've found helpful is to use a tool called the Purpose Venn. And for those of us that remember back in, I don't know if that was algebra or trigonometry, a Venn diagram is where multiple circles come together or cross over. And it is that sweet spot in the middle where they all come together that is revealing. And with a purpose Venn, one of the reasons that I find it so helpful is because it's also pretty clear in what you're looking to do, and you're asking yourself questions with four circles really that say I love it. What are the things that I love to do? I love performing. I love engaging in. The world needs it. Is it something that I have to offer that's in me that will serve others in the world? Another circle is you're great at it. You know, I really excel in talking, and how that can really be a gift or be of use. And then the last one, which I think is an important one for many of us as entrepreneurs and as people in our professional lives, is you get paid for it. And where those four things and the purpose, Ben, I wish I was that brilliant, but it is not. It is not something that I've created. It is created by someone with the last name Zazunga. And that idea is that you really start to pour into what are my passions? What is my mission? What is my profession? And what is my vocation? How am I getting paid? And what are the things that I'm doing, offering to the world, even through my job? So, whether it's your career, your entrepreneurship, what are you offering to the world? And how does that all come together? And in that sweet spot, that's where kind of the heart of the purpose is. And I'm happy to share, my version of the purpose, Venn, with anyone, because I think it can be such a useful exercise. How are you, Wayne, talking to your clients and even thinking about purpose as you move forward?
Yeah, I don't use that particular purpose then, but I do share a document that we work through that deals with. First thing I do is have people do an assessment of their strengths.
Mm.
And it's important, I think, to recognize what these are. And that speaks to part of your Venn where you talk about what you're good at, right? What I help people do when they figure out what they're good at through using their strengths. And there are several tools. There's Strength Finder, which is
Hmm.
very popular. But when you have a sense of what your strengths are, you want to spend most of your time crafting your work and your vocation around those strengths, what we call find your zone of genius. Because
Mm,
what you want to do is to get into the flow and find a way of living your second half, as it were, in flow. So you don't feel like it's an uphill and a struggle and a battle to get up to go to work or to complete tasks. And the other thing that you talked about in the diagram, when you talked about you love it, and passion, absolutely. So we help people with looking at passion and strength, and where they intersect with the big one for us as well is values. We look at values, and you talked about it. You get paid based on what folks perceive your value is worth. In other words, value added gives, relatively speaking, a equal amount of remuneration. And I say equal because folks' perception of what you bring to the table is going to demand what you get paid, so to speak. And so when we are looking at repurposing ourselves, Stacy, as you talked about, as we're talking about today, reigniting our purpose, I think that Venn diagram that you shared is
mhm.
so important.
Yeah, I find it really helpful. I tend to be one that doesn't do well in the abstract. Um, but anytime we are focused on and including our values, then it really is tapping into who we are, right? Not what the world values or not what others value about us, but who we are. What are our values? How that really um, amplifies or personifies our identity. And then, to your point, really allows us to draw on our strengths and move forward in a way that is really living out our purpose.
Yeah, yeah. Part of my signature work in terms of the application of coaching methodology that I use is based around the name VIP.
Mm,
VIP. And VIP represents values, identity, and purpose. And so to take, as it were, those constructs that you shared with us just now, I am focused as well on helping people to identify their core values and making sure that we are in alignment with our values. If we're not in alignment with our values, we have a sense of missing the mark. We're not
mhm.
feeling wholesome and fulfilled. Yes. And the other thing that I help people to look at, and you brought it up a couple of times just now, is the issue of identity. Our I am, who do we say we are? Right. And so as we move into recreating and discovering our purpose, I think it's important that we examine that I am. And one thing that I like to share with my clients, Stacy, is that you have to become the man or woman that you want to be before you get there. So you have to take on the habits, you have to take on the mindset of the person who is disciplined with money if accumulating wealth is important to you, right? So it's not the other way around. It's the reason why so many people get broke after winning the lotto, because they have not transcended in terms of their identity. They don't see themselves as millionaires before they get there. And
Yes, we also call that embodiment, right? That you have to embody what it is you are going after, what it is you want to be. And so you're saying, if you are really seeking to be better with your finances, as you're saying, you have to embody that. Where do you resonate with that on the inside of you? And how do you begin to practice that in both your mindset and then in your actions, right? So as we talk about purpose, it is connecting with your values and really embodying them in a way that you are able to feel what resonates when you take actions, when you start to move forward in a way that where you are so clear on your values, what you enjoy doing, what's meaningful to you, what's in alignment, as you're saying, with those values, that as you move forward, you can begin to sense when something is in alignment with those values, because you've embodied them, because you are really practicing them, and what's not. And that, I think, is one way that the spirit really gives us prompting about whether, that we're on the right track, right? Because we've embodied, we really embrace our values, we've embraced who we are, we've started to take on the practices of who we want to be or where we want to be, right? In those steps to get there. And then as we move forward, we can really sense that we are on the right track. And I think that that's then what gives us the fuel to continue to move forward and help us feel like we are really like, oh yeah, I am living on my purpose. I'm living in my purpose.
Absolutely. And to your point, the issue of values is internal, though oftentimes we're guided by principles and dogmas, maybe teachings. The truth of the matter is, when the lights are off and we're by ourselves, it comes down to, are we being authentic to our core values? Are we living in accordance and in sync with what we know to be true of our core values? And if there's that misalignment, then we know, we shouldn't be doing that thing, right? And the third part of the signature program, VIP signature training and coaching that I offer, it's firstly values, identity, and when there is alignment between your identity and your values, when there's that mesh,
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
purpose, and this is revealing, your purpose jumps out at you. In other words, purpose, like you said earlier, isn't something you go digging and looking for, to be honest. When you're in alignment, things are lined up. Your purpose is awaiting you. It's waiting to be discovered, as it were. So you pretty much will have it knocking on the door. You just haven't been listening. And if you're in alignment, and oftentimes this comes through being silent, whether it's prayers, meditation,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, just killing the noise so that you can identify and clearly hear the knock. Your purpose comes to you. And when you're working with purpose, man, you can't wait to get out there and give back. And the world rewards you,
Right. I agree. And it is recognizing that each of us has something so unique to contribute. And I think that as we age, or as we sage, as my dear friend Coach Wayne would say, we can sometime become, I don't know if the word is disillusioned, or feel like it doesn't really matter what my purpose is now, or I don't have any more drive because I'm not connected to my purpose. I'm so stuck in the rut, so to speak, of the day-to-day, of the daily grind, of the weekly grind, that I've lost sight of my purpose, and therefore don't have that drive or momentum to really push forward in figuring out, or rekindling, or reigniting those things that highlight my gifts. And I think many of the women that I've served really talk about that feeling of what's next, having poured it all out, and having whether it be in the professional world, or entrepreneurship, or stay-at-home parenting, having poured it all out, and now feeling this huge chasm between who they are, and why they believe they're here, and what their dreams and passions really are. And needing to rekindle that, to your point, really comes with that point of silence. But also, one of the reasons that the purpose Venn is so helpful is because it creates the need to move. And that first movement is writing it out, is saying like, oh, what do I love? What do I get paid for? What really is in alignment with my values? What are my strengths? And that movement, that one action can really be a great catalyst for starting the work to really reconnect with your purpose, the purpose of you, who you are, and where you're going, and the gifts that you have to offer the world.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of writing things down because it sort of crystallizes it from the ether, from the woo-woo
Mhm.
into reality. It becomes objectified when you can see it. And again, I use the system of putting that in a place where you can see daily, so that you are reminded, right? And this is one of the tools, for folks who are using the diagram, and hopefully in our notes, Stacy, you'll be able to upload that if we
Sure
can,
will.
and so folks can get a chance to take a look at it and use it. But I like that idea. The men that I work with oftentimes are at a place at midlife, and sometimes for them this thinking is happening in their 30s, not 40. We use 40 as a means of just having a line of demarcation, but it can be
Right.
earlier for some folk and later for others. But a lot of these men have been surviving, living just to get things done, to pay the bills, to keep the roof over their heads. And then, as they start maturing in terms of their sense of self and values and, purpose, what do they love? What are they really good at? What are they getting paid for? They start looking at life a little bit differently and asking some questions about what else, what more, who am I? And this is where we're saying it's time to reinvent ourselves, because we have so much more fuel ahead in the tank at midlife.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And what I think is so interesting about this time that we're in is that coaching, this mindset coaching, um has become so personalized, and I'm sure we both know a lot of coaches, but what's been fascinating is that uh you know coaches have been around forever, and so we're so familiar with them, on the field. So the football coach and the basketball coach, and those really are the folks that are helping those players to refine not only their mindset but their physical ability, right, to make that mind body connection, and to then act that out in a way that helps their performance. And that's really what you and I talk about, and what we enjoy doing, and how we've connected to our individual purposes, is that recognizing that we all need, I have a couple of great coaches, and we all need someone to just help us really pull out of our own thinking and of our own being what's going on, and what is the narrative happening, and what are the external beliefs that are impacting the way we are currently thinking. And sometimes folks are questioning, like, why would I need a coach? But it really is just this type of conversation, asking the right questions, someone that's really focused on you and what you want to accomplish as an individual, right? And what are the questions and the tools and the techniques that you need as an individual to start to rise, to reconnect with your purpose, to reignite your dreams, to be that VIP that you are raising and coaching men to be. So I think that this is such a valuable conversation, because we don't really talk about the fact that it is it is really our mindset, what our minds are set upon, set on, and how that might be hindering us or be our own stumbling block for forward momentum.
No, absolutely. You said a lot, and you said a lot of powerful stuff that we need to be taking notes on, because to be truthful, the reason why we're coaching is because we recognize that we all have blind spots. And our role as coaches is not to be better than the people we're coaching, but it's to be able to have an objective 360 sort of view, or the 40,000 feet view of what's going on below, so that we can tell folk where the opportunities lie. We can look at their strengths, but we can also look at fissures where there are limitations, cracks in the armor, so to speak, and help people to level up. You know, coaching, as far as I'm concerned, is based on looking at people's strength and helping them to maximize their full potential by giving them strategies how they can take the next steps. And Stacy, I don't know if we have any comments.
No, but I think that, one of the things that when listening to what you just said, it just reminds me that so often we think that we're alone in that feeling, right? That like, I don't know if how I'm going to move forward. And it is having these conversations, right? And most times coaching is conversations. They're meaningful conversations where we're asking the right questions as we listen deeply to our clients that then help them self-reflect. And one word that I think I would add to what you said is we also hold them accountable, right? For, it's normal to kind of go back to some of your own old ways, so to speak, or your old thinking, but it's holding them accountable to using some of the practices and tips and techniques that we're sharing to move forward. And so, my hope is that this conversation, whether you're catching it live or in the recording, that you really see that tapping into your purpose, reconnecting with your purpose is possible, and that the world is waiting for you to live it out.
All right, Stacy, you got the last word on it. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And for those who will be catching the replay, feel free to share your comments, your questions, or pass it on to somebody else. We're going to get some information out to you in the notes. Stacy, we're going to do this again, same time, same place next week. And let's just get out of here. And there you have it, folks. This week's episode of the Midlife Revolution. Hey, we truly appreciate you spending this time in this space with us. Join us next week at the same time as we dive into relevant topics and present solutions to spark new thinking and empower your midlife journey.
Don't forget, if today's episode resonated with you, share your thoughts and suggest topics in the comments. And of course, remember to subscribe, share, like, and hit that notification bell. You are the Midlife Revolution. I'm Coach Stacy, and I'm cheering you on.
And I'm Coach Wayne, and I'll see you at the top.